not put in many pressure situations. And Manship, another young guy, is up here on the pitching staff. So I just think that early in the season you can get by with trying to figure out if a guy fits or not. But you watch. I think these Twins might be willing to make that change or make a trade of a prospect because they've shown that they would last year when they went out and got Mr. Matt Capps.
Well, I think you exactly nailed it. You know, one thing we're not short of is the prospects, and I have to just quickly shout out to my friends on this one. Thank goodness we got rid of Jesse Crane. I just was not a fan. I'm sure he's a nice guy. I've seen at moments real brilliant talent, but his capacity to give up home runs at the worst possible moment was almost a gift. And that's something that I just could not believe he was still pitching. And is there something I'm not seeing now? What is he doing to stay in the game?
Well, he's got a good fastball. He just lacks confidence on a nightly basis. He's got a resilient arm, even though he's had arm surgery before in his career.
Right.
He's a guy that makes 60 to 70 appearances. Both he and Matt Guerrero are always in the top 5 as far as appearances. So that means that he's reliable in the sense that he can pitch every day. But here's one for me. Knowing the fact that Jesse Crane was not used late in the game for the Twins, he was used mostly the 6th, 7th inning, he goes to one of the most volatile managers in the league, in Ozzie Guillen. A guy who has no problem selling out his team or putting them on Front Street, which is the last thing that Gardenhire ever tries to do. He tries to protect his players to the umpteenth degree. So Jesse Crane, whether he has the good numbers or not, he came on strong last year. He finished strong. He was almost unhittable the last month of the season. And that earned him big dollars in free agency that the Twins were just unwilling to pay. He or Matt Guerrero. Guerrero goes to Los Angeles Dodgers, and Crane is with the Chicago White Sox.
So you think it might have been a loss to not have him anymore?
Well, I don't think it's a loss because I think it was time to move on. But I'm just saying that I don't think that these young guys, not because of a lack of experience, they do have the arm. They do have the pitches. But it's that mental stability that's necessary to be a vital cog of a bullpen. You can't always use Burnett and Manship and Hughes in mop-up situations. There's going to be a time when Maharis and Perkins have thrown too many days in a row, and you've got to count on these guys.
Right. Yeah, I think that's just the question. You're right. We need to expand or get some more depth there. We're definitely not. We're not ready for postseason level, but I guess that's the advantage of having 156 more games to go, right?
Yes, that's what makes it a marathon, not a sprint. Again, this is the Al Newman and Jason Isaacson here at B52 in Inver Grove Heights. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back here again April 20th, and we will give away those tickets. Don't hesitate to put your name into the kitty. All you have to do is ask a question. We'll put it into the bucket, and we'll pull it out. Okay, you got a question?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is a personal question for you, Al. What was the favorite park you played in, and why? What made that park just a lot of fun to play in? Is it something historic like Camden Yards? Is it being able to play just in your home park, and that's why? Where are you at with that?
My favorite ballpark was always in Kansas City. I was born and raised in Kansas City.
Oh, sure. There you go.
And then my second favorite is Anaheim because I left as a sophomore in high school and moved to California. So those two stadiums were two that I grew up watching Major League Baseball. You know, I got to see a young George Brett. I got to see John Mayberry, Freddie Patek, the little 5'6" infielder, which made me think that I had a chance to play in the big leagues. So I go to California, I get the chance to see Reggie Jackson, Disco Danny Ford, who played here. Got to see Bert Blyleven out there as I was growing up. So those were always my two favorite ballparks.
Describe for me that feeling. I mean, you must have went to games a lot as a kid, especially out in Kansas City. Describe for me that feeling of the first time you walked in there as a player. I mean, that's got to be quite the. Well, you're looking back at the stands and you're,
You know, that's funny you asked the question because I mentioned earlier my first team was the Montreal Expos.
Right.
So the first big league park that I went to was in St. Louis. Having grown up in Kansas City, riding my bike to that ballpark, my expression at that time was, oh my goodness, I thought it was green grass, the greenest grass I'd ever seen in my life, until I found out it was AstroTurf. Okay? So now when I get to the big leagues, I walk in and I see the greenest grass I've ever seen, and it's actually real grass, and it's in a baseball mecca town like St. Louis. Got an opportunity for my family to come to the game and to be proud of me finally getting to the major leagues. That was an experience that I won't ever forget for two reasons. One, the flight from AAA to the major leagues. You guys don't know what they do when they talk about pitting out. I pitted out my sport coat, my dress shirt, and everything all the way to St. Louis.
A little nervous?
Yeah, just a little bit nervous. And you know, the thing is, you go your whole life hoping and wishing that you get to the major leagues. And then when you get to the major leagues, you keep saying to yourself, I don't belong in the big leagues. What am I doing on the same field with Keith Hernandez, with Ozzie Smith, with Pete Rose, with Joe Carter? All these guys, all you did was see them on Saturday afternoons on television, and now you're on the field with them.
Right.
That's what motivates me to this day to talk about and to love and to coach baseball. That's why I still continue to coach American Legion Baseball. That's why I do the camps and clinics that I do for the kids. It's because I love to see kids with a smile on their face and that dream of possibly one day legitimately playing in the big leagues, because I know for a fact, Jason, that I never thought I was going to play in the big leagues. I remember them telling me that it was very difficult if I ever got a chance to see the big leagues.
Right.
So it's a dream that I was able to realize, but to look in those kids' eyes when you're coaching them up is one that you long to savor.
So we have a question here from Ryan Newman. Assuming Kyle Gibson gets called up, what sort of impact will he have?
Well, everybody likes Kyle Gibson. He's the Twins' top 5 he was their number 1 pick, but he's also one of their top 5 weapons in the minor leagues. He's one of their top 5 prospects. He fared very well in spring training. You're asking me what type of impact do I think he would have. First of all, I think first and foremost, I know Gardenhire would try to protect him, and by that I mean they'll call him up in a situation where he's going to probably face a lesser opponent to try to get his feet up under him.
Right.
But the kid pitched very well in spring training, and it seems like here you're looking at his double-A debut. He says here he pitched very well in his Twins debut.
Well, I mean, if that's the question, is that, first of all, is it safe to assume we're going to see him get called up, or do you think that's a fair statement, or a little premature to be calling that?
I think there is a time and point in this season. A lot of kids, just like Perkins for the past 2 or 3 years, they wonder when their chance is going to be. Just like when I was in AAA or AA, hoping to get to the major leagues.